What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we are jumping in with some Destiny 2 news, updates, and broken stuff. It's not new broken stuff, but stuff which is broken and still exists. So there are the updates to Festival of the Lost, some issues persist there. Bungie also clarified reward updates for the event, and we'll touch again on a big boost that Bungie will be giving to players as we head into Renegades. There's additional discussion about the roadmap that we're still waiting for Destiny, and some extra new details on the Call to Arms event coming up in a couple of weeks' time. As at this point we are a little over a month away from Renegades, which is pretty mind-blowing. I guess Bungie have their heads down working on that, but we'll probably start to hear more about it soon. For today though, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit subscribe for more Destiny content, and now let's get into it. First up for Destiny, some updates that we got this week. Bungie found the issue causing softlocks in a handful of portal activities. According to them, some of them were actually linked to the behavior of the limited revise modifier. That's been fixed in the update that we had this week. Additionally, Bungie did fix the problem that was causing a softlock at the final boss in the Haunted Altars, but some of the other softlocks, like the boss never spawning in, which is a pretty rare one, as well as the alignment softlock, where the game just doesn't recognize that you've aligned the altars, that one is actually persisting. Given that we encounter it somewhat regularly, that is obviously unfortunate. I did notice last week that Bungie hadn't specifically identified that one in the known issues list, so I'm not sure if that's the reason it wasn't fixed, but Haunted Altars is certainly better without the boss issue. It is, however, a shame that there's still a risk of seeing a softlock at certain points in the activity. And in case you missed it, Bungie also resolved a problem where players weren't earning Festival of the Lost bonus engrams from the PvP activities, so across all of Crucible Ops, that should now be working as intended. Other quick recap things here. You may have missed it last week, but Bungie have said as we go into Renegades, if you didn't log in or earn 30 ranks in the Season Pass for Season 27, that's the current one since Edge of Fate, then you'll qualify for the benefits of a returning player bonus in the next expansion. So that includes a 6-month XP boost, as well as return as gifts, that's exotic engrams, Tier 3 and Tier 4 gear, bright dust, materials, and more. And having a 6-month long XP boost is pretty significant really. So it's something else worth bearing in mind if you're considering coming back. Although with the power changes, if you can stomach the game in its current form, which I appreciate some people can't, it is also worth leveling up as much as you can this season, since we take that power into Renegades, and it will enable us to get better rewards. So I suppose pick your poison on that one, as of course if you grind a bunch this season, you'd no longer get the returning player bonus thing. Bungie also confirms that with the Season Hub changes and bright dust coming from these new orders, which are basically rewards for what are effectively bounties in the Season Hub, Bungie have said you'll be able to grind for hours and hours to get bright dust in the new system, with the caveat that earnings will be slower once you've exhausted your most valuable orders. So you can technically infinitely farm for it, but there will be diminishing returns and ultimately pretty low drop rate for the bright dust, so something else to consider. Before we go any further though, these days many of us are focusing more on our health, and I just discovered something pretty wild about stem cells. They're like tiny repair crews in your body which fix things like muscle damage or even problems with your organs, and that's why there's a craze for non-approved stem cell treatments which are out of reach for most people. But there are natural ways to support stem cell activity, and one of them is high flavanol cocoa. This is backed up by Harvard scientists like Dr. William Lee.
Cacao actually comes from a plant. Studies have been done to show that the flavanols in cocoa stimulate stem cells to come out of your bone marrow like bees in a beehive in your bloodstream, and they go out and they find wherever it needs to be repaired. If it's in your heart, they'll fix it. If it's in your liver, they'll fix it. If it's in your skin, they'll fix it. And so we can eat foods like high flavanol cocoa in order to be able to actually get the stem cells to work a little bit better.
Studies indicate that the flavanols in cocoa can stimulate the release of stem cells, but also have other benefits, including improved cardiovascular health. And flavanols are the good stuff found in cocoa beans, which is why our sponsor Black Forest have created the first ever high flavanol cocoa powder. It's only 20 calories per serving, it tastes good, and it has no sugar, plus you can mix it with coffee or a protein shake. And importantly, this powder preserves the flavanols that are normally destroyed in chocolate production. So if you feel old, slow, or just a bit off, cocoa flavanols are definitely worth trying out. And right now, Black Forest have an awesome buy one get one free deal available for 48 hours only. So definitely don't miss out on it. The link is in the description and pinned comment, and thanks to Black Forest for sponsoring the video. A couple of other minor updates here, but I'm still seeing a massive number of posts about the Vault not working. This includes Vault from orbit and things like that. It is still possible to actually use it, but basically what is happening is that the game isn't automatically toggling Vault mode when you open the Vault from the character menu. So you basically have to toggle Vault mode. If you're on controller, that's the left thumbstick. Then you'll be able to put stuff in the Vault, but be sure to untoggle Vault mode before you try and equip gear onto your character. Basically, the game isn't doing that bit automatically, although I believe Bungie do intend to fix it at some point. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, a quick shout here, but if you need elemental guardian kills, players have pointed out Mayhem is featured in the old Crucible node on the world map at the moment, so that's really good if you need to get super or elemental kills against guardians for seasonal challenges. But as they point out, it may be a bit slow to find matches given that this is not actually in the portal, but apparently people are still queuing up for it, which is something, so it's just worth keeping that in mind. Another thing to mention here, but players continue to highlight that we haven't had the roadmap Bungie spoke about in the Renegades reveal stream. Where it has been almost 2 months since we had that, I'm not even certain when they said they would actually release this roadmap, or which parts of the game it would pertain to. I'm assuming at this point, any roadmap they drop is essentially only going to be for changes that we'll get after Renegades or during that timeline. And that is perhaps why we have not yet had it, because Bungie have been pulling some changes they'd made for Renegades forward into updates that we've had recently, and obviously want to be cohesive with what they're saying they're going to do in the future. I do agree though, it would be nice to get some more in-depth communication in general about the state of the game overall. And players additionally comment on the fact that we haven't really had that since Tyson Green took over, whereas previous game directors have given those kind of commentaries. So we'll have to see what happens, I suppose. If Bungie want to get that roadmap out somewhat soon, the next couple of weeks probably makes the most sense, because after November 11th, we'll get that Call to Arms event, which is going to act as a lead-in to Renegades in some capacity, with players able to catch up on the season and earn some rewards that we'll be able to unlock in the expansion itself. So who knows, maybe we'll get it relatively soon, or maybe I'm just being too positive. I don't know. We've discussed Call to Arms previously, but we'll be able to catch up on a bunch of seasonal rewards. There'll be attunement for some of the weapons as well. That includes things like Folded Root and Romantic Death, which I'd completely forgot were actually only available in the first week after Ashen Iron dropped. So we'll get access to those once again. We may also see the contending Cascade origin trait applied to these versions of the weapons, as they do have a Call to Arms specific thumbnail on them. And we know that Devrim K will return to the tower to host this event, where we'll unlock daily packages with powerful rewards, and there'll be some unique cosmetics, I assume, an event home for it, as well as something called Celebration Week, which I assume will be the very final week of the season. So I'm kind of curious to see how all of that will pan out, but from the information tab for the event, it says play Call to Arms activities from the event home to receive competitor points, then visit the tower each day to open a daily shipment of gear, and except for the first time opening a daily shipment, the size of the shipment is based on your competitor points. So the daily rewards we'll earn will actually scale with the amount of points that we're earning in the event, where we basically have to dive into a set number of activities to earn the competitor points. Then of course we can attune to weapons. There's also the component here for the daily shipments that say they contain tier 3 or higher new gear weapons or armor pieces, enhancement cores, and every 4 procurements opens grants a consumable that guarantees a prime engram reward on your next activity completion. But part of this can only be opened after the release of the next season or major update, and I guess those are the boosts that will help us out in Renegades that Bungie teased. It also says, use before the next Call to Arms event, and it expires when the next event actually begins, so this indicates Bungie seemingly have a plan to run Call to Arms at the end of every season, which is certainly interesting. So share any impressions you have about that down below. Our very final mention briefly, Marathon has had another closed playtest in the last week or so, and Insider Gaming comments on a bunch of leaks, or, well, they're bits of information from folks who've actually played it, even though it's under NDA, so technically it shouldn't be spoken about, although they are largely positive, so Bungie might be able to forgive them a bit. Apparently there's been a lot of development on factions and quests, while others still complain about weird mechanics such as having to pay for credits to remove attachments from weapons. Also comments about the solo experience for it, now that it has a solo playlist, being a borderline horror experience. And I think if anything, the ability to play solo in a game like Marathon is going to broaden its appeal quite a bit if the gameplay loop is actually fun, and there's an amount of progression there that players can get involved with. A lot of folks also saying the graphics have been improved from the alpha, and general significant improvements to the game. Obviously, it's essentially hearsay at this point because we can't actually see it for ourselves, but some positive commentary coming out regarding improvements to the game since the previous test. It doesn't sound like anything very significant has changed fundamentally with the concept or the core of the gameplay loop, which may be really one of the bigger challenges overall, but it'll certainly be interesting to see when we do get our eyes on it properly, how much it's changed from the previous time around. For the moment, guys, that's what we have to speak about today. So, as always, I hope this video has been interesting. If it has, a rating very much helps us out on the channel. Share your thoughts on anything we've discussed in the comment section as always. Also, hit subscribe and I can keep you posted with more Destiny stuff. A final mention though, once again, thanks to our sponsor Black Forest. They've got a bunch of awesome stuff in their store, as well as the discount on Cocoa Flavanols for 48 hours, so check those links out down below. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.